Burnout is a really hot topic right now, and for good reason. And while it seems that we're all aware that it is a chronic problem, we are still continuing to be burned out. Burnout does not have to be the norm. Stay tuned because I'm going to share a few tips with you that I learned the hard way that's going to help you end the exhaustion and be more intentional with what you're working on. So grab something to sip on and let's chat. Full disclosure, I did not plan today's video at all. I sat down to try to figure out what I wanted to film, and it was just on my heart to talk about burnout because that has been something I have struggled with a lot. So today's just going to be a little girl chat. And if you're feeling stuck in a rut of burnout, hopefully something I share with you today will help you get out. First, I want to start with how I got here. So let's rewind the tape just a little bit. In November of last year, I decided that I wanted to do my first Black Friday sale, which was a feat in and of itself. I also did my Define Your Goals challenge during December/January, which is something I was planning like super far in advance. I had decided last January that that was something I wanted to do. But I decided that I wanted to launch my website and take my products off of Etsy onto my own website after my Black Friday sale. In my head, it was a great plan. It was all going to work out so well, but I just really underestimated how much work was going to be involved. And as I kept continuing to get into it, I realized there was more and more things that were associated with it that I did not even think about. And so to make it happen, I was working till almost midnight every single night just to get it all done. It was so much work. And nobody was telling me to do that except myself. I was the one who put the deadline there. I was the one who decided to do the project in the first place. And I'm not saying that like I'm mad at past Kat. I'm not. I'm proud of her. She did a lot of work and we're here now, but it was a tough season. Owning your own business is great in so many aspects. And there's always going to be seasons of hustle and maybe seasons of slowness, but also you get to dictate that timeline. It can be as fast or slow as you want. So then jumping forward to January, I was super excited for the new year. I love the new year. It is so fun. I had new goals and projects that I wanted to work on, and I really expected to just hit the ground running and get going on some of those things. But honestly, I didn't want to. I was so tired of working it constantly, doing all these projects that I just had no energy left to even think about anything else. At first, I was really hard on myself because I was like, hey, it's January and you have to get going and get all these new projects done. And so I forced myself to sit down and work. And that went about as well as you would expect. I ended up doom scrolling quite a bit because my brain was just not having it. So eventually I backed off and I was like, okay, I recognize that I have burnt myself out. I need to take a step back and give myself some grace here. And so I did. And believe it or not, as soon as I gave myself that little bit of room, my creativity started coming back. My productivity started coming back, and I was just enjoying my work again. I had a lot of reasons for starting my business, and one of those was time flexibility. But here I was constantly telling myself to work on stuff, pushing projects way too quickly. And so this time around, I've been really reflective on how I've been feeling about things, why I felt the way I did, and then what's helped me get out of it to make sure that this never happens again. Well, never say never, but at least the plan is for it to not happen. So here are a few tips that I have learned on my own journey of getting out of a burnout rut, and hopefully they can help you too. One of the biggest things is to plan ahead and give yourself ample time for projects. I feel like last year I was really just flying by the seat of my pants. I had no idea what I was doing. But to try to combat that this year, I have sat down and done some annual planning so that I know what I'm going to be putting out and when. And I've made sure that all of those things are at least 2 months out when I'm planning them so that I have plenty of time to work on them and I don't feel like I'm rushing myself. Now, if you work a job where other people are giving you deadlines on things, you might not have as much freedom there, but there are things in your personal life that you can plan ahead a lot more. Also, it's definitely worth talking to your boss to see if you can't get them to plan things ahead a little bit more so you have some more runway and you're not feeling like things are going so last minute. But if you're running your own business, please plan ahead because we started our businesses for that time freedom. And when we're sitting here telling ourselves that we have to get this really big project done in a very short amount of time, that is literally counterintuitive to the point. Again, there's always going to be seasons for hustling, but if you're planning ahead and working to prevent yourself from getting burned out, you're going to be just as productive as if you're trying to squeeze big task into a little short amount of time. Next, I would encourage you to have hobbies that fill up your cup. Quite honestly, I have not had my own hobbies in so long. Over the last year, my hobby has literally been my business. And if you're a business owner, you probably feel that. On top of that, I had a conversation with my husband about this because I realized I had adopted some of his hobbies in an attempt to hang out and spend more time with him. And not to say that I didn't love those things. I mean, for a time, they were also my hobbies. But sometimes they were just feeling like another thing on my to-do list rather than something that was actually helping me rewind and relax. I think it's really important to try to adopt hobbies that your partner has because that's a point of connection. And quite honestly, I still love doing his hobbies with him, but that doesn't mean I have to completely abandon my own. I've started doing things like making sourdough bread, crocheting a blanket, and even doing things like just reading. I used to love reading and now I barely do it. So I've made sure to include it in my routine so that I get time to do that. Which brings me to my next point. We want to start reframing our routines from something that just helps you get more things done, something that's helping you make time for the things you enjoy. Yes, usually if you have a routine, it's helping you get more done, right? But that is not the entire point of routines. When we're creating and crafting our routines, we have a unique opportunity to make time for those things that really fill your cup. For example, while my morning routine includes getting showered, dressed, and ready for the day, I also include time to read and time to do my morning check-in so I feel both relaxed and prepared for the day. Similarly, in the evening, I make sure that we have dinner and then we clean the kitchen, which those are two things that I'm getting done. But then after that, I am taking my makeup off, getting in my PJs, and then we're doing something fun. So if your routines are habit after habit after habit, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I do want to encourage you to be including habits that are rewarding to you or to make sure that you're including time for activities that are relaxing. I find when I make sure that I do my reading in the morning and my check-in in the morning, I'm way more productive throughout the day. And then also having that time in the evening to do something fun helps me out because I just feel refreshed the next day. I don't necessarily feel like I was working all evening or that my day was stressful from sunup to sundown. It really gives my nervous system some time to relax and reset. Now, as a systems gal, I have to say the next one, and it is to have your systems in place. I know I love to talk about systems, but they are so important. Systems are not only going to help you stay organized and focused, but they're also going to help you take things off your plate. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Notion. It keeps me sane, but it also truly makes it easy for me to get back on track when things start to go crazy. Now, this doesn't mean you have to turn around and have your systems all perfect by tomorrow, but start with some key areas that you know you need to tackle. A big one for me was meal planning. I absolutely hated meal planning, but I set up a system within Notion that helps me meal plan in a single click. When I start to feel overwhelmed by things and then remember I have to meal plan on top of that, it's not as overwhelming anymore because all I have to do is click a button and I'm ready to go to the store and buy groceries. And friend, that is the power of systems. I will leave more information about my meal planning system down below in case you want to snag it too. Now I'm kind of combining 2 points here, and that is to ask for help and have a community around you. Having people that are encouraging you and surrounding you in times where you're just crazy overwhelmed is really important, especially if you're running a business, because it can be so lonely. When you have people that you can trust around you, then you can ask for help. And there is no shame in that. After talking with my husband, I found out that both of us tend to be very low energy at the end of the day, and neither of us really want to cook dinner. But if neither of us cooked dinner, then we'd be eating out every night. So we decided to be in more open communication with each other. If one of us was really struggling, the other could cook dinner. But most nights, we now help each other cook dinner together. Not only are you solely responsible for it, but it's also a lot more fun when you're cooking with somebody else. If you ask me how to never get burned out again, I don't think I could actually give you an answer to that. We're all gonna get burned out once in a while, but there's a lot that we can do to prevent that from happening. And I really believe that a lot of the points I made here today are super important when it comes to preventing burnout going forward. And if you're feeling burned out right now, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram or leave a comment on this video. Just know that I'm here for you and that you're not alone. I am sending you all of the best vibes, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.